Namaste and welcome, beloveds. How precious to be here together. How precious. Oh my gosh, Jesus, thank you. You can start to see that all those things we were protesting were really the call of our heart. So good. Are you online? Not yet? Okay. Lena says she's not online yet, so we're getting... Okay, we're up. We're running. I'm so glad to have our Spanish speaking brothers and sisters jump on with us. Jump a join. We call it jump a join. We're so blessed to come together. Chapter 20 rocks our world, Jesus. It certainly rocked mine. When I sat down and realized I could just make a checklist to every one of those in there and go, oh, I believe I have that one and this one and this one and this one. But it's so perfect. It's so direct and unsparing this way with him. And he's really, I was thinking about earlier, he's really teaching me how he has to be in control of the miracles. What that really means to have Jesus in control of the atonement. Because first of all, it's the last thing the ego wants. The ego cannot survive Jesus being in control of the atonement. She's still waiting for audio? She has it. Can you maybe close the door then, Renee? And we have construction. And just to mention, hopefully it's not going to help. The beings here already know it, but we were set up to go in a certain way live, but we couldn't go that way. It wouldn't work. So we're just regular live. Hopefully whoever needs to find us finds us. You're all here, so you must have been. Yeah, to have Jesus, like you just get happier and happier when Jesus is in control of every miracle. Because you see how he saves time and how he really wasn't kidding when he said, we never know the reason we're upset. Because you start to see the play, like all this stuff, it's like smoke rising like this of all the things that seem to be wrong. It's like this mushroom cloud like that. And then the ego will go out and select things. Oh, I got to look at this and I got to look at this. And Jesus is going, come to me and I will tell you what it is. And this way he's giving it's for me so helpful to be with that precision. He was talking about that and he brought me to that chapter, those paragraphs in Urtext where he's talking to hell. I'm going, why is he talking about statistics? Why is he talking about statistic and precision and with Helen and Bill? And then I got it. See, I didn't want to take statistics, but now I was glad that I had because they were two scientists and they could understand you need accuracy and precision. You need to be on point with where the miracle's needed. See, he's going to be like a laser. And then he comes in and he tells us exactly where it's needed, exactly where the denial is. No sideways, no spinning off into, I wonder what's happening. No, it's like, Jesus, show me. Just all we do, I'm upset, show me. That is it. And so with this chapter 20, it's like the lights are on the runway to go right to him and be shown all those places. Like I said, looking at, oh my gosh, Jesus, I do believe my brother's here to rip heaven from me. Like everything he says in the course, and then it's right there going, oh my gosh, I do have, I have that one and this one and this one. So I'm so grateful that we're here and we want to hear from all of you that are in chapter 20. to share your experiences or your questions. And anyone who's interested can ask questions too about chapter 20. So it's kind of, there's, look at the Jesuses that are here. Like they're lined up against that wall, like they're right here. It's all the Jesuses and all the Jesuses here in the group. And we're in holy purpose with him, which makes it easier to hear. So I'm just going to open up to anyone who wants to share their experience in chapter 20, going through and having Jesus coach them. Or ask questions, whatever comes. Okay, Mary's going to come. Thank you, Jesus.
What Mary's going to say.
That's good. Mary doesn't know it. She's going to say, how perfect is this?
So my partner and I have been working on chapter 20 since January, would you believe? And we came to a space where we realized we really needed to do it every day. And it became the highlight of our day. Everything seemed to, also it was very interesting because the morning before we joined or the evening before, whatever that next desire, belief and desire was or were, played out right in front of us before we joined, and we're like, OMG, I can't believe this is, Jesus is working with us so directly with this. Yeah, and it's interesting that my experience was that every desire was one I recognized. There wasn't one I could say, nah, this isn't for me. I got that one down. No, that didn't happen. And in the joining and the reflection and the witnessing back and forth with each other deepens so much my experience of Jesus. And also just every session, we always start out, let's check in, let's join. And it just kind of goes beyond words, what happens when that joining takes place. It's so powerful, and it just opens up the space for Jesus to come through. Yeah, that's it for me right now. I'll probably come back.
Good. I hope so. Just share whatever comes from Jesus. That's our only function, by the way, is to speak Jesus. And we're all here because we hear Jesus. There isn't another way of it. Would anyone else like to share their experience with chapter 20? And you can talk about anything. You can talk about resistance or anything that came up in doing chapter 20, because it's helpful for the whole. Because believe me, if you're not, oh, here comes Anne. I'll let Anne speak. Very good.
I don't know why, when you just said resistance, my hand just went up. So we'll see. Because my partner Corey and I, we really struggled at first, and there was lots of, like me taking responsibility and him wanting to give me responsibility to hear Jesus. And it was just crazy, really. And we joined with Mary a couple of times, like just to help us through, because we both were, in a sense of doubt with what we could hear, even though Kay was so encouraging, and it's like, no, you can both hear. And it's just changed so much, our joinings. It's absolutely, I really, really love the joinings and what we can see from the lights, and how amusing it can be at times, because at first it was really serious, doing this work. And it's like, so it's really flipped around quite a lot. And yet today, Corey just said, oh, Anne, I can't join today. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing that, so the doubt was up again. And I've just joined with somebody else that's, having some doubt around chapter 20. And it's like, what's going on inside of my mind then? Yeah, I don't know how to yeah, how to hear what I'm to do about that. But what I felt at the time with Corey was just, it's all okay. It's all okay. Yeah, we're just going through a little bleep or a little something at the moment, and that's, it just felt, yeah, nothing went wrong. But yeah, it's made a massive difference, actually, profound, this work, and I had lots of resistances in many different ways, like to even joining the light circle, and yeah, it's just been perfect, like the next step along the way. This has been it, and yeah, I'm just so grateful, that, yeah, that's all I can say, really.
Well, we're really grateful to have you with us, Anne. We see that everyone that jumps on board this with us, oh my gosh, so helpful. So helpful to have the reinforcement of God's team, his constellation of beings. Because the ego, this is deep looking. This is really for the students that are ready to hear Jesus like full on and go all the way. They're just because it's so uncompromising. When we're looking in chapter 20 and he's delivering out, okay, right in front of us, just a major chunk of the beliefs and the beliefs that are in A Course in Miracles. And they're all like the Reader's Digest version, one after one. And then he's setting us up to have a conversation with him directly. Jesus, do I have this desire below my level of awareness? When you read that sentence in the book, and you hear him go, yes, well, that's so direct because you're looking right at the denial. But it's really just hanging in there together. And also we have the Joining in Light for the Facebook group. So if you have doubts even about chapter 20 and your partner's not available, you just jump a join. See, we just keep jumping to join to see what's true. Because it's going to come up. That's the ego is just one big resistance. It's one big fat no, so it's going to play like that, but we're more powerful than any resistance. And besides, who are we talking about here? We're talking about Jesus. Like I said, if we look over and he's breaking a sweat, then we can worry. I love that. Is Jesus breaking? I just check it out in the light. Is the light breaking a sweat? No. So what's really great about what you're saying here and reflecting for all of us to remember, Anne, is that you have to say no to the no, true use of denial. I'm asking Jesus. He says that's a must. We can all hear it. Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is it necessary to say no to the ego thought system? Because we're so used to saying yes to it. So part of the really jumping in deep, and you'll just see the play, even setting up the partners, I ask Jesus, is our function to help support, and the partners really having trouble getting together. But if you say yes, and we have to have conviction in ourselves that we're worth more than the ego thought system, that's for sure. So it's so great what you're saying, that you're just grabbing the ball, because you can see it in the expression of our brothers when they start realizing, holy smokes, I can hear Jesus. And not only do I hear him, I've been hearing him for a long time. And not only do I hear him clearly. The challenge is we don't want to hear, the play of consciousness wants to sneak away from Jesus. But we're here to confirm for each other that we can hear him. And I'm asking him right now, chapter 20 every day. That's what he's saying. We are worth it. We are worth it to clear these denials. So, he's just given us the breadcrumbs right back to heaven with this chapter 20. Here it is. So that's why he's saying no more discussion about the course. We're alive. This is alive for us. The way this is going to make him see that he is with us. Every question we want to ask, any question will be answered by him. So, Ann, I'm so glad. We love having, I mean, you and Corey. And yes, he's telling me again, you both can hear him really clearly. So this will clear out the doubts that you can't hear him, that we can hear him too. Because, you know, there'd be moments even writing, I could, you can see some of them, you know, as I said, I put out the notes on even typing this book, and I was typing it going, am I really, you know, am I, you know, you have those kinds of questions. Can we hear them? But get those things on paper and record your sessions, because I was grateful that I could go back and I could see how clear he was coming through. And then of course I needed the mighties to reflect it to me. So we're just reflecting to each other the truth. So yeah, wonderful. I think it's wonderful that we're together. So I'll just mention, since we have some new beings who might not have had started off on chapter 20, a little bit about that chapter, just so everybody knows, and to know that if you want this experience with Jesus, then it's available, and we'll partner you with a partner, you know, through Jesus. We pray on it, and, you know, you'll be put with a partner, and then you'll be able to join with someone who's started the chapter so they can help guide you through. There's a worksheet given by Jesus. He's so direct, step by step, how to go through the chapter. You just read one sentence. You start with the light. You read one sentence. So he starts off with the 4 core beliefs of the ego system. And then you just, you know, you read with your partner one sentence, and you go, and you listen. Like, Jesus, is that desire below my level of awareness? And you wait and you listen to him. That's why what Ann's pointing to, why it gets funny over time. At first it feels serious, but you can hear him laughing here because we do it every day here, because suddenly you realize he's right. And that we do, the play of consciousness is to believe and have an experience that our brother is trying to steal heaven from us. And all the other beliefs, of course, in the text. But now this is direct experience where we let him tell us, because the ego is going to deny it. So we're learning to listen and hear it. And if he says, yes, okay, Jesus, am I ready for a miracle? And don't be surprised if he tells you no. And hopefully some beings will come talk about the times Jesus told them they weren't ready for a miracle. That was a big surprise. I thought, well, I can always have miracles, but Jesus is saying, but you don't want them. I have to show you where you're denying yourself a miracle. So he takes you down in the elevator, come down. Let's look down in the catacombs at where you're saying no. And to release that energy. And then you just look directly at him, at the wanting, and you'll see it. I've described it before too, and you'll start to see this. You just go down, okay, go ahead, show me everything, Jesus. Do I have this desire? And then it kind of rises up, and you're going, holy smokes, man, I want that. I want to, like Elaine said the perfect thing. She says, I want to revel in that belief like a pig in mud. I just want to revel in it. And you see the wanting, but that's good because it's here. See, it's not hidden anymore that we want these experiences. And then when that one clears, you think, oh, you sigh of relief. And then you ask Jesus, Jesus, is there any more to see? And he goes, yes. And at first you go, no, I'm done. But you have to trust him, and you go down again. Okay, let me look a little deeper. Then you'll see it'll rise up. It may rise up again. Or you can say, am I ready for a miracle? And he'll tell you when you are ready for a miracle. And the other surprise, is the number of times, and maybe we'll get some reflections here, that you've had a miracle, you didn't even know you were having a miracle. And you can ask them, Jesus, did I just deny that I had a miracle? And you can hear them go, yes. So it gets very humbling. So we don't know what miracles are. We don't know what they're for. We don't know when we've had them. We don't know which miracles to ask for. But that's the way out, because that means that he is now in control of every miracle. And that's the speed. And so that's it. It's a conversation going through the worksheet. Do I have this? He tells you yes. If he tells you it's not ready for a miracle, you look deeper. And he will reveal the whole mechanism right to you, the whole gig. Here's the gig, and it looks like this, and you believe this. And then you check in with your partner. Maybe you're not hearing something. You just ask your partner, what are you hearing? Are we ready for a miracle? You're just checking in. It's not teaching anything. It's listening and speaking. No, there's no teaching here. It's the only one that's teaching is Jesus. Listen, speak. And then if he tells you or reveals something that's opening for you, then you ask him, Jesus, can I share that? And he'll tell you yes. He might tell you no. And then you share it. You can share, gosh, he showed me, I saw that, whatever it is, I saw that when this created the whole world. Don't be surprised at that. He showed me I'm doing it to myself. It's stuff like that, it's like he's able to show us directly through direct experience what he's saying in the course is true. That's the only purpose of chapter 20. I mean, to the whole Course in the New Covenant, people said, well, doesn't have the course have everything in it? Yes, it does. I asked him, Jesus, does this have every belief we need to see? Yes. The question is, are we going to look? And for me, I needed the condensed to get right to the point. And also, he's reminding me, it's a new way given by him for us to work directly with him. Because now the mind's okay. At first, it had to be some kind of woo-woo thing where you had somebody just like Helen who could hear him and write stuff. No, he's going, now you're ready to hear me and you're ready to work with me directly, and you can hear me as well as Helen. That's your ticket out for the fast means. And so all this does is build that relationship of hearing him and clears out all the things that say no to being on point with everything he tells us. So that's kind of chapter 20. Is there anything else about chapter 20? Those of you with experience want to share? That could be added or helpful. Oh, Mary, come on. And Mary's wonderfully been joining with the teams.
When I started, I was pretty sure I couldn't hear Jesus' voice, although I'd been a student of the Course in Miracles for years. And the more my partner and I joined, the more I realized that his voice was right there. It was, Kay says this a lot, but I came to experience it, that it's very natural. It's very natural. And even starting out with simple yeses and nos. Jesus, is this what you want us to look at? Jesus, are we ready for a miracle? And then both of us listening for a yes or a no. And sometimes my partner or I would say, one would say yes and the other would say no. And we'd like, okay, we're not ready. Let's go deeper. Jesus, what do you want us to see? So it just develops this whole, I want to use the words that's coming to mind, is intimate relationship, comfortable relationship with trusting. And that was so important for me in my experience, to trust that that really was the voice. And not only that, but at times it was so beautiful that, yeah, it just expanded my willingness, I guess I would say. Yeah. I'll be back.
Yeah, good. Keep coming. Yeah, so Mary is helping the English teams when they get started. Like Ann said, it's just really helpful to just help with the confidence that you can hear Jesus. Oh my God, all of you can hear Jesus. You're all Jesus, for crying out loud. And that's why we're together, because we're like Jesus magnets. And then Lena and Dyra will help the Spanish teams get kicked off and started with looking with Jesus. If that's the call of your heart and you feel that guidance, then they will help you with the first couple of sessions. But you'll see very quickly, if you can watch too. Like there's several really good videos we've done where beings are expressing about their experience with chapter 20, like Mona and Linda talking about it too. It's hilarious. It's like Jesus takes you down there and you see there's nothing down there. Exactly. He's just trying to show that none of it's real. And then you'll just start cracking up. You really will. We just sometimes are rolling on the floor here because happy laughter to see it's not true. So this can be very light. He's saying, yes, this is very light. Very light. If it's heavy, then the ego's too involved with it. And also the value with what he's showing now, at least for me, was he's showing us a way to get underneath, because underneath fear and underneath guilt, because desire is below fear and guilt. So instead of feeling the feeling, okay, I feel upset. If you go, I desire an experience of upset, and you're right in that pocket of wanting it, then let the wanting express. So that's what he's got. That's the energetic suppression of energy below the level of awareness. That's all we're doing, is just letting that come into full awareness with him in the light of truth. And it dissipates in the light, the power of the light within, the Holy Spirit. We're the Holy Spirit. So that's really the power of this. Okay, here comes, do we have somebody else raising their hand? Oh, Marlea. Okay, we'll let Marlea. Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
Marlea.
I just want to mention, I'm just new at working with my partner. I just want to say you guys picked a perfect partner for me, because we're like the same. We have a lot of the same interests and a lot of the same experiences. It's amazing. So that's nice indeed.
That's that's who does the partnering. He knows. You'll see it too in your partner, how he's going to put you with the perfect partner. It's amazing.
We have a lot of the same stuff, and it's amazing. But I just want to say, sometimes I hear Jesus's voice, and sometimes I don't hear a voice, but I get an image. Maybe I have a question, and I'm shown some feeling I have, and then I'm shown a miracle, like a picture. So that's been helpful. But I don't necessarily hear a voice sometimes. But I'm given answers, but in pictures and images. Just want to say that.
Yeah, it can appear that way too. It can definitely appears in all ways.
It's been very wonderful. Yeah.
I'm so glad we were able to get you two connected, because I could feel the call of the heart. It's precious.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Marlea. Kyrene, did you want to come? Oh, good.
Hola. And I just listen really quickly. So when I started with chapter 20 with Mary, it's just all seemed difficult and like a lot of work, and trying to understand the difference between a desire and a belief. And we, the one thing with us is we both were committed to doing this. And there was a lot of similarities with us too, which later on we had to work through, because sometimes you don't like seeing the reflection of yourself in your partner. But we were really committed to staying with this. And with that, we found a way to do this together. And one of the things that we were doing that Jesus showed us was sometimes we'd get too much going sideways, talking about things, talking about experience, and that just didn't accomplish anything. And so what what I'm hearing to really express is I asked when I was beginning to do this whether it was helpful to imagine a situation where I had the desire or the belief in the past and try to go in there with that. And that is not helpful at all. That's why this is so direct, to not even go and stay in the perception or the emotion or the beliefs or any of that. Go straight down to the desire. And what would happen after that when I would do that, because I wouldn't have any idea what I was, looking for down there. And then Jesus would take me down. And then when an image came after I was shown the desire, the image was totally different than what it would have been if I'd have looked at it before I went in. So it was like flipped over where I could see, oh, I wanted this. And then, so that was so helpful to, Kay, to keep reiterating that. No talking about it, no sharing your history, no going into all that stuff, to stay with the desire and go down. And then if something comes up that's valuable to share, ask Jesus. But sometimes it's just for me. And Jesus shows me images. Jesus sings songs to me, which I love. And so with chapter 20, it's just been so much it's just been so amazing. And so this morning I had a huge ego attack, and so caught up in the emotion and the anger. And it was so wonderful I feel so blessed to be here in this community, because if I'd have been at home or anywhere else, I wouldn't have had access to the ability to join right away and go through this whole thing. And I think it's a blessing. I see a blessing now that if I'd have known what the desire was down there, I was looking for, it's like Jesus had to trick me. No way would I have looked at it, but because it played out in a different way. And I was joining with Kay, and she just kept saying, look at the desire. And I fucking want to look at the desire. And I just kept, just staying with it and staying with it and staying with it. And finally, when I got to see what was below it, it was like, it had nothing to do with the shit that was coming up. And not only that, I would have denied that if I'd have known it in advance. If I'd have seen the story associated with the desire, I don't think I could have processed it that way. So Jesus knows, he knows the miracles you need. He knows how to take you through them. You don't get to know in advance. You're on a need to know basis, and just accept that, because it's going to all work out for your happiness. And we have a new song here, and our theme song is, if you're wrong and you know it, clap your hands. If you're wrong and you know it, clap your hands. If you're wrong and you know it, then Jesus will surely show it. If you're wrong and you know it, clap your hands. And that's it.
Go for Jesus. Yeah, it's really helpful to have these insights that have taken the walk with Jesus. We're all walking together. That's what we see. And we all are looking at the same things. There's just no other way. We were talking about that this morning in that joining, like there isn't another way that I know of. I would have tried it to not do anything but look this directly. But I see the happiness depends on that direct looking. And what's also beautifully expressed by the mighties here was determination, not to get sidetracked, because like Muji says, the ego is going to throw the whole kitchen sink. It's going to throw your neighbors. It's going to throw everything to try to distract from looking at chapter 20. because it's so direct, it's so unsparing, and the depth of relationship with Jesus is so pure. See, his instructions doesn't give the ego space to go sideways too much. Now, you might find yourself starting chapter 20 and you're both reflecting and you know, take a little nap. Or, you know, you start thinking about getting your income tax ready. But you just keep bringing it back. Just bring it back and just say, okay, Jesus, I see a desire to let my mind wander. But this is also for mind training, to keep our minds totally focused on him. That's what it's training us, to keep our mind totally focused on him, listen to him. And yeah, like Irene said, he's going to bring right to, the ego's going to make it seem like everything except what it is. You know, it's, you know, whatever, you know, the stories that the ego can tell. And you can't in-run Jesus, you know, it's just, but it does take that honesty of God, that openness for us to let him, all right, Jesus, go ahead, show me. I want to usurp the power of God. And it's like, oh, right. Yep. That's another. Then we can laugh, because he's not asking us to take it seriously. He's asking us to be true to ourselves. Be true to who you are, a powerful, infinite being that does not need to hit the snooze button to be asleep another day, another minute, not one more minute of suffering. We're powerful. We're course students. We're carried by the love of God by answering this call. And so now, boy, he's in like spades, leading us right, boom, boom, right through it. Between the light circles and the joining sessions, and it's as many have said, it's like riding a rocket ship. And it will seem like that. You'll see something, he'll take you down. It's like, you're right, Jesus, there's nothing under all this. And the next day you'll be screaming your lungs out because laughing because, well, first of all, it's the interpretive function of consciousness and the desire for the experience for awakening to be hell. So the first thing I would say, because as soon as I really, really got that there was a decision to have awakening be hellacious, you can bet I started working with Jesus to show me every desire for awakening to be difficult. That's a great place to start that conversation. Jesus, is there anything in the subconscious mind, you know, that's going to make it a dark night of the soulish? Because, you know, it's a desired experience. And then he can work, you know, then we can work with us. He has he has space to come in and show us the catacombs of consciousness. The catacombs are the big fat no. And you'll see him over and over again. Oh my gosh, it's another no. But then you can laugh. We can start kind of getting funny because we can see that the light is here. And we can yell, we can scream, we can lie on the floor and throw a fit. And there is absolutely nothing we can do to change that we're light.
I've never done that.
You know, like just have the biggest anger fit that you can and just kind of peek your eye out and just go, am I still light? And hear Jesus go, yep. And you look over and there's Jesus standing there just waiting for you to, oh, you're right. You caught me. You caught me in the play, trying to kill out the light out of awareness. So it can go out of awareness, but that doesn't mean it's dead. And when you see that energy, we're laughing about it because we see that energy and wanting to kill, kill that light dead. Kill it, kill it, kill it. You're onto something then. As I've said, you know, he takes you down there and just ask him. You can pick anything. I mean, you can do the chapter 20, you can pick some other desire and you go, Jesus, okay, Do I have this desire? And he goes, yep. Okay, first you admit it, and then he takes you down there, and I'm telling you, he'll show you the little devil's horns. They'll pop up. You'll see it. You just see that relishing. Oh, I do like this. Oh, I want to usurp God with this really badly. But that's a good thing to see. Because otherwise we're denying how much we want to kill the light out of awareness. You'll just see that little devil. He'll bring you down. See where that little devil's dancing down there with glee, because it thinks it can one up all the power of God. But it's in innocence. See, there's no judgment. There's just, do I have this desire? Show it to me. We just see it. It's released into the light. Am I ready for a miracle? That's it. And we're learning to go into those little secret, the little I pockets, the I me pockets underneath our awareness, how we want to be a person rather than infinite light. So when we turn around and go, give it to me, Jesus, I'm ready, then the ego loses its power rapidly. All the pain is in not looking, but we're looking because we got called together to look together. So does anyone else want to share? Laura, you want to share your experiences with chapter 20? Yeah, this is for everyone, so.
Won't you take me down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing to get hung about. You know, I came in here like Muhammad Ali, move like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and I was going to take Jesus down. He was going down. I was going to be the most special. Wow. So yeah, the precision is what Kay mentioned about, you know, Helen was a scientist and he pointed her in the text to that, to statistics and the laserness of chapter 20. Thank you, Jesus. And when we first started the session today, a bubble gum machine came to mind. Like that's all like the fragments, like a little pieces of bubble gum. And having spent some time with the Course in Miracles and living in community in the Course in Miracles, I always felt like I was missing something that was helpful. And many times I was brought back to the miracle principle. Miracles, like everyone's entitled to miracles, but purification is necessary. And when I'm reminded of that, I hear Ken Wapnick say it, which is really cool because I love Uncle Ken. But so this is the purification and the bubble gum machine. He shows us what piece of gum we're going to look at. And it's all there on paper, thanks to Kay's yes. And I was reminded of Harry Potter when they went down into Gringotts vaults. And they were in the car and it was dark and it was like, and my prayer lately has been to have a light heart. No Muhammad Ali hearts. But there's so much love under that heart, in that heart. And just my experience recently, I found that I was just like, F No way, no how. I don't want a miracle. And I hate everyone and everything. And you can all die and go down with the plane. And yeah. So gratitude and conviction, we are worth it, as it was said earlier. We are worth it to stay with it. It's been really hard at times. I've rocked the boat. I've flipped the boat. But I found that the support here, if anybody, just, I mean, if you're on this call right now, you have been personally invited by Jesus. So anytime I tried to wiggle out or hold the ball as a rebounder at a basketball team, like, hold it, like, The answer is join and just express it. So something did not let me back out of this. And I'm so grateful. And I heard it, I'd just like to say one more thing. I heard the commitment, Irene talk about commitment, and just, if it gets rocky or whatever, like, just stay true, because it is the call of the heart if you're on this call.
Yeah, it is the call of the heart for us to go deeper and let Jesus do the constellationing, putting together the right beings together to help us take that rocket ship straight up as quickly as possible. Because there is that wanting to like wiggle out and find a way to hedge. But it's okay, we're here to support each other and encourage each other to get back in there and keep looking. And that's why, Moody touches me so much, because when you're with beings that inspire you to keep looking, it's helpful. And that just was so inspiring to me. Keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. And we'll need about 100 billion keep looking. they were laughing here. Because we came up with 100 billion fragments. That's why we could spend 100 billion years trying to look at 100 billion fragments, but he knows which ones to tell us to look at that are most important and in which order. Do you see? He it's a relief to let him be in control of the atonement and to follow him and listen and following. So the listening and hearing. So it's not only chapter 20, but it's also practicing what his coaching, listening to him for the coaching of what's most helpful to do to see what's true. So it's that combination. He's bringing it together for us. Does anyone else want to share their experiences with chapter 20 or ask a question about chapter 20? It's pretty much open. So just at least listen to Jesus, because we can all hear Jesus, and who knows, Jesus may have something to say through you too on this, because it serves the whole. Okay, beautiful. Hilda.
Hello.
I just have to unmute Dyra. Hold on. I'm going to make you co-host because for some reason I can't unhook. Oh, there you go.
Aquí vamos. Hola.
Hola.
Hello. ¿Puedo hablar en español entonces?
She can speak in English if you feel to, okay, and I can translate on the line or.
Okay, that feels good. If you feel it, yeah, we'd love to hear you. If you want to do that, Hilda, speak in English, you feel comfortable, great.
Well, I would prefer to speak in Spanish
Okay,
if
then,
it's possible,
okay, speak in
because
Spanish.
I think I am more fluent in Spanish rather than in English. If it's possible, I prefer to speak in Spanish if it's possible. If not,
Okay.
I let him put the words in English. So, Spanish? Sí. Vale, pues muchas gracias. Como siempre, un honor estar aquí.
And thank you for having me here. It's an honor.
Soy nueva en cuanto a la enseñanza de The New Covenant.
Soy nueva. I am new in the I am new to the teachings of Jesus and New Covenant.
Pero llevo a cabo el trabajo de el aprendizaje a través de un curso de milagros.
But I am doing the teachings of A Course in Miracles.
Y estoy encantada de aprender aquí con vosotros.
And I am so grateful to be here to learn through us all.
Por lo que he podido ver, estaba leyendo a la vez lo que venía en el capítulo 20 y he visto que os estáis centrando en el capítulo 2 de un curso de milagros.
And I can see through chapter 20 and the list of desires that there's some mentioning of chapter 2 of A Course in Miracles.
Los orígenes de la separación.
Of the separation.
Origins of the separation. The origins of separation.
Los orígenes de la separación. The origins of separation.
Cuando Jesús habla de el descenso hacia el miedo, lo que pareció ocurrir en la separación, ¿no?
Of what Jesus explains in the course of the descent into fear of what happened apparently through the separation.
Estos que son, diríamos, nuestras creencias de lo que hemos creído poder hacer.
And through what we have been able to do.
Pero que en realidad no pudimos hacer.
But in reality we couldn't do.
Y por lo que estoy pareciendo o creyendo entender, porque no he podido escuchar, seguí los pasos para escuchar la traducción a la vez, pero se puso una musiquita y quedé a la espera y no llegué a escuchar la traducción en español. Igualmente estoy siguiendo lo que la maestra está diciendo y los maestros amorosos, las maestras amorosas han estado compartiendo.
And so what I'm trying to understand is here, because I've tried to get in touch with the teleconferencing line and there was a little music, but I couldn't actually hear the translation. So I'm very attentive to what everyone is sharing through here and through all the teachers through here.
Y la conclusión a la que estoy llegando, lo que me llega es que estáis viendo cuáles son los obstáculos para poder escuchar claramente la voz de Dios.
And what I'm understanding and through this chapter 20 is that we're looking at the obstacles that are in the way of listening to Jesus's voice.
Que por un lado serían lo que el ego nos cuenta de lo que hemos creído que ocurrió.
In the way that the ego tries to interpret of what happened.
Y cuando creímos poder fabricar este mundo
we believe that we could fabricate this world
y convertirlo en los sustitutos del amor de Dios.
And try to substitute the world for God's love.
En el sentido de que hemos fabricado ídolos o dioses.
In the sense that we have fabricated idols and gods, and goddesses.
Que son los que no nos permiten escuchar a la voz de Dios porque deseamos esos ídolos en vez de la verdad.
And through these idols is what blocks us from truly listening to the voice of God.
Because we don't want the truth. Porque no queremos la verdad.
Because we don't want the truth and we don't. Yes. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Bueno, sí, I'm going to try to speak in English, okay?
Okay.
Okay. What I understand is that we are blocked to hear the voice of God because we feel guilty. We feel we don't deserve the voice of God. That's what I've been told all the time. And we, for sure, Jesus, if we let him talk to us, tells us that for sure we can hear him clearly all the time for everything. Jesus is a voice that substitutes the voice of the ego. That's what I've been told and what I think you are sharing too. And the only thing that makes us deny this fact, because this is a fact, that Jesus speaks to us clearly, everything, about everything, every day, every instant, if we let him talk. What blocks this voice to come to us is that we want the voice of the ego, is that we want things, the things of the world, is that we still think, we desire some things to happen as the ego tell us that we think we desire in that way. They are not our real desire because we desire love, but ego tell us that we want the things of the world, and that was what blocked the voice of God to talk to us directly. It's like that. Can I see again because now I see Daira, but I don't see the other. I don't know if do I have to do something?
What did you want to do?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see you again.
Okay. Was there anything else, Hilda, that you wanted? Did you have any questions about chapter 20? Okay.
Well, I will study it. I'm going to study it. I have already searched for it and I will study it for sure. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that for those that you might be joining new, you can find the chapter 20. There's a page on our website that has a link to chapter 20. And we'll put that link back up in the WhatsApp group. And we'll put the link to the book up in, we could actually just repost it on our website. It's on the website, first of all, for in English. You can get the whole book. If you wanted, all chapter 20 basically this is how it went for me. So I got the assignment, go into A Course in Miracles, and I did a search on the term "you believe." Obviously, Jesus was feeling I had a few beliefs I needed to look. And so I just started taking all those beliefs, right? And just made a list of them. And then Jesus started telling me, okay, because you have this belief, this is the desired experience you're wanting to have. And then I had to admit that, how many pages is that chapter? I had a lot of pages, and I didn't even get all the ones out of the whole Course in Miracles. But and I said, and I know it's not all the beliefs out of A Course in Miracles, but it's a big enough chunk of them for us to totally see how wrong we are, for me to see how wrong I was. And then to sit down with Jesus on each one and go, okay, give it to me. Give me the straight skinny on this, Jesus. And then you'd see what came out. You believe you know, your brother can steal heaven from you. Thus, you have a desire for an experience of your brother stealing heaven from you. It's like, okay, Jesus, do I have a desire? Oh, yes, I want my. And then he was teaching me, and you can see it in the notes too, the notes I took while I was writing the chapters, and I was asking him back and forth, and he was teaching me how to look at desires with him. That they're posted on the website too, on the page of the book, because he told me I could share them. But you can just see the back and forth dialogue, because he's saying that's how he can talk. You can talk to everyone. He'll talk to everyone just like that and directly. Okay, now I know there are people that are writing things to us in Spanish, except the only thing is Dyra's the only one who can translate those for us right at the moment. Unless Lena can potentially respond. I don't know how she would do that though. Let's see, I'm not really clear. Let me get Lena to tell me what these are. Oh, Dyra's putting some up here. Maybe Dyra can look at those and just scan through them and see if there are questions or anything we need to be addressing, and she can tell us. That feels practical. Okay, love you, Marlea. Is there anything there that we need to answer, Dyra? Okay, we're okay. Just questions. Good. Just want to make sure we're answering everyone's questions. So it's just an opportunity. As I've said, I didn't know this was going to be a book. You know, there wasn't a thought about a book. It's just something came out, and then I handed it to a mighty companion. And then they said, "Where's the next chapter?" And really, until it would start in January, until like June, when chapter 20 was done, all of a sudden Jesus said, "Okay, distribute it." You know, so it was for me to develop that relationship with him of, you know, having him show me. And by the way, you have this desire and that desire and that desire. And then it's a deep dive, releasing the desire to deny the miracle, deny that love, infinite love is here. And it's so great because you can spend a lot of time. It's not bad. There's lots of ways to look at things with Jesus. The key is always like Lori's little sign, this W. It's always the willingness to see it differently. So it can look like an expression session. It can look all kinds of ways. It's just that this way is direct with Jesus to go, what do I look at? But you have to have the W first. So you have the willingness for him to show you from the get-go. I'm upset. What do I need to see? Do you see how quick that is? As opposed to I'm upset. Here's the story of why I'm upset. Here's why I don't want to marry, you know, and it just saves time because he'll go, "You're upset. Join with me in light. I'll tell you what it is." And he'll do that. He'll bring pictures to your mind. He'll show you directly. Okay. Hi, Hilda.
Hi, hello again. Thank you. This is like when Jesus in page 99 tells us that each time that we don't feel happy is because we have decided to perceive wrongly about something of the creation. And he says us to stop and go and see, when did I start to think wrongly? Is that what you mean?
Yes, there's two. It's always joining with him when we're upset. So there's a joining in like worksheet for that. That's very helpful. That basically is what Hilda's pointing to. If we're upset, you can join with a mighty companion and look. Then we go to him and look. And then for chapter 20, he's just telling us directly, let me show you what directly is in the catacombs. You know, it's just a very direct look at what's all the beliefs and desire, a lot of the beliefs and desires below our level of awareness. So it's not when an upset occurs, it's just he's saying, let me show you what's down there. So you don't even have to wait for the upset to come up. You can already see with him, because all these things are in the subconscious mind. They're all there. They just seem to come into awareness and then leave awareness. And, you know, we're upset right there. But every one of the ones he's showing in chapter 20 are running ramshod below the level of awareness and flavoring every single experience. So what he's essentially saying, you don't have to wait until you're getting hammered by an upset. I'll show you what's, you know, what the play is below your level of awareness. That's another reason why this is really, it's fast and it's direct. Because we don't have to wait on a timeline to have an experience that's going to show us that we're wanting to usurp the power of God. He'll just show us right there. You have a desire below your level of awareness to usurp the power of God. And you look and go, oh, my goodness, I sure do. And I'm relishing it too, on top of that. It's just a very quick means for him to show us he is absolutely right in every case. No exceptions. That's the experience here with chapter 20. Is that helpful, Hilda? Or you have any other questions?
Well, that's what we do with him when we study the 31 chapters and when we do the exercises. We look at all those things that were outside our conscience. We do that, no? With the study and with the practice.
Yes,
the
there are just
exercise.
many ways, you know, there are many, many ways. That's, as you're saying, 365. This was just what was most helpful for me in terms of developing a relationship, deepening the relationship very quickly with him and hearing his voice very on point.
Thank you.
Yeah. I obviously needed it. Okay. So yeah, the question is coming in. Why can't Jesus just make all the beliefs go away without us consciously knowing them? They're below our subconscious level. Because that would make them real. They're not real. He can only assist us to take the unreal and let the unreal shine in the light and show us where we're holding on to the unreal and pretending like it's real. See, if we look with the light of infinite light of being, which we are light, see, the light has no beliefs in it. Infinite light doesn't have beliefs. Love doesn't know what a belief is. But within the play of consciousness, consciousness is a play of no to infinite. So we're just finding out, where are we sleeping? And the only way you can say no to infinite is to hit the snooze button and pretend it's not here. Yet we can just look and see the light's here. It doesn't leave us. It's always here, but it's not a consistent experience because of hitting the snooze button and falling into the dream, wanting to dream other. So he's just showing us where that the desire is below the level of awareness to hit the snooze button and go, oh, I'm not infinite, and then complain about it. That's so the ego makes it all and then wants to complain about it. This is really bad. This is happening to me. No, this is a desired experience to sleep and dream of a no to God when if you look in the light of divine being as infinite light, we can see, because everyone can see this, because we're light first, we can see that there's no option not to have light here. We can try, we can dream, we can pound sand, we can pound our head on the floor, and we'll feel like we want to. Like Lori said, she was looking at how she wanted to just kill everybody. We all look, you'll see it. You know, I went up to somebody in community and say, you know what, I realized I just want to kill you. You know, but we have to see that wanting, that desire, to see it, because in the play of consciousness, there's a belief that that desire leads to heaven. That the only way that consciousness can play this way is to have these beliefs and desires connected to the belief that they lead to heaven, rather than to see they are hell. So this way, when we look directly with Jesus, for here, I can just say what's helpful for here, he could, when I just really be with him and he kept showing those desires, like, and then you see the relishing, the energetic investment in the no, and it releases into the light, the denial of the miracle. And when you make that, when that connection, he helps you make the connection to see no longer is that desire. See, those desires going to hang out as long as there's a belief that the benefit is heaven. But when Jesus takes you down, so the connection is made, no, that's not heaven, that's hell. You don't see the value. It collapses the value that's placed on hell, pretending to be heaven, masquerading. So he takes you down. You can take him. Jesus, show me the death wish in this. I'm willing to see that this desire is a death wish. And when the experience here, and you go right to death's wish, it cannot arise again. Because you can see in truth and honesty of God, there is no value in maintaining that desire. So it collapses back into the nothingness that it is. To see that it doesn't have power over the Son of God. That's what the laser they're talking about. You start to see that laser focus being provided by the infinite one who knows. It's like a laser. It's so on point. It's just going to save a lot of time in that kerfuffle up there of motions and, you know, me deciding, I'll say it for me deciding that I knew actually what's needed to be seen through. See, the ego is going to select what it wants to see through. This way, ego doesn't get to select. This way, Jesus gets to select. Look with me at this. Do I have it? What else do I need to see? See, he'll go in there. That laser is going to clean that closet pretty darn good. That's the experience here. And then the discernment comes that when these energies arise of wanting, we see the wanting. See, it becomes recognized that there's an energetic horizontal movement of I want. And you can go, okay, Jesus, I see it. You know, we catch it quicker. We're no longer going, we're no longer being, as I've said, tossed like driftwood on the surf, which is a desired experience. But we'll just feel like we're being banged on, the waves are crashing over us. So he's saying, no, go to honesty of God, honesty God being, see that the light's here. And if you have an idea that you can't see what light is, then you keep joining with brothers and Jesus will show you. He'll just show you that that's because there's a desire not to see the light. To recognize and admit light is here, honesty of God, admit the denials. Admit, I do not want light. That's what the ego doesn't want to do. It doesn't want to admit that big fat no. But when we admit it, it's like, oh, Jesus, boy, do I want this. You'll just see a flip. Really want it, like really triple, really with extra ice cream on top. Then you'll go, he's right again. I really do want heaven. I really do want hell over heaven. But then it's the window to the miracle. Then it really can clear out totally. And then these displays within consciousness of suffering cannot pop up out of, out of nowhere, and we look like we get hammered, because the desire for it is completely burned out in the light of truth. So desires arise before belief. Well, the beliefs are like a little tree that goes like this. So you get a desire and it goes out to a plethora of beliefs. But if you take, with Jesus, he's going to help burn the chaff and leave only the good wheat, burns the desire. Then it can't, you'll just be looking around going, I seem to recall that I'd get upset by that, but I can't get upset by it anymore, because the engine, which is desire, a desire for the experience, the engine has been burned in the light of truth. And you'll hear beings talk about it, they'll recognize, oh my gosh, there's so much light. It's wonderful. Oh my gosh, look at the light. There's so much love here. And then there'll be pockets of little hell pockets. This is going with Jesus to clean out every catacomb. Here it is right here. And I show it to you here. And we have that relationship with them. And you'll trust them more. Like we'll have that relationship, and then we trust them more for the unequivocal following that's necessary. We cannot equivocate on following. You can ask them, Jesus? Because if we equivocate on following in any way, it is to support the desire to deny divinity. It has to be that on point. That's what the ego, like, well, I would have tried every way. But then you see, when you follow them, you're following infinite. It's always pointing, you're always pointed up to infinite in divine expression. So this is very helpful for me, because then it was pure. As soon as you realize, yes, there's light here. There's nothing I can do about the light. It's here anyway, and it's not going to do anything to me. It's just here. So the whole idea that God is some kind of thing out there that's going to do something, this completely collapses that. And it goes below that, the guilt and the fear. You'll see it. You'll start to go, wait a minute, there's light here. Nothing can happen to me. And then it's just like you turn inward and you just start going, I'm looking at everything. I'm not beholden to any dream. And then, boy, he starts delivering it. And you have the kind of relationship, you go, okay, Jesus, I need to look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. As I said, my eyes would pop open at night, in the middle of the night. And I'd start looking with them. Show me, show me, show me. It's helpful. That kind of, we're worthy of that kind of attentiveness. And this kind of greases the skids. And he's saying, do not underestimate how fearful you've made yourself, of God. This is when you learn that trick, you'll see the trick too. This is such a great means to see the trick in consciousness, to how it works, how consciousness plays. It starts out with desire, and then it blows out. The tiny mad idea goes like this. It bifurcates into fragmentation. And that's why going to the desire is so powerful, because it's before the split, and it's before guilt, and it's before emotions arise. So what he's teaching is so helpful, at least for here, because then I knew I didn't have to be fearful anymore. If fear was arising, it was too high up on the little tree above desire. So if you feel fear, go to the desire. Jesus, I desire this fear. You feel a twitch, you can go, Jesus. So it's really direct for here and helpful. Just helpful. And then it becomes just direct looking. Because then you see it's finite. You can see that the light is infinite, and you recognize the light here is infinite. And even though to an ego standard, because it complains about everything, it seems like you look at that chapter and you go, holy freaking, how many of these things am I going to have to look? But just remember who's saying that. The ego's saying that. When we really see and we get, like they're saying, you need a little purification first, but when you're onto it and you've gone down a couple of times with them, and you'll forget it, but not totally, because the energetic investment in forgetting is being burned by the light. He's showing us where we're trying to forget ourselves. And then it's just pure release. Because you can hear his voice and you can ask him when you're diverting, if you're willing. You can hear him well enough to tell you, Jesus, am I trying to hold on to something or am I willing to release it? And it can be that crystalline. Now, a lot of egos don't want that, but when you're ready for it, man, it's like, you know, this is the jujitsu of working with Jesus. And I can't think of anything for here that could be more helpful or powerful than that voice. Let me see what. Okay, this is a good question. So where's you? Okay, just a minute. I'm going to answer. Let me see this in chat. Oh, Marga's saying that. Marga, did you want to speak? I know you don't like to speak English, but we love to hear you. We love you. I cannot. Okay. But sometimes, this is good. She says, but sometimes I really can't relate. I really can't relate to every single desire listed in chapter. Should I just, it's probably good to admit it anyway, but she asked me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that and then your second question, okay? No, then the second question that came up. Okay. Sometimes I can't relate to it. This is a really good time to trust Jesus and ask him to show you. Because sometimes the terms in A Course in Miracles can seem obscure. And this is where the trust going down with him in chapter 20, he's going to show it to you. If you ask him and you're open, he'll reveal it so that the understanding blooms in you like a flower. There's so much love coming just saying that. So much happiness, like crazy amount of happiness. So you can trust him that he's going to show you. And that's why you're with the partner. Just trust him and say, okay, Jesus, and listen for his voice. And if he tells you you have that, just a minute. Okay, I do, Jesus. You can tell him, look, Jesus, I don't understand this one bit. Can you give me the scoop? As I've said on the chapter on sexuality, believe you me, when he's going, okay, sex is only for procreation. I was definitely having a conversation about it. So do not underestimate that you can speak to him about anything. Really, just start typing questions and type the answers and just ignore what the ego says. Just listen, type the answers, and you'll be amazed. You'll go back and see how clear that you are, because consciousness is a device to deny that we can hear this voice. It doesn't mean you have to believe it. So just stay in there on chapter 20. And you'll develop that relationship with him where he'll build to talk you through it. And you've heard it from the beings here. They didn't think they could hear Jesus that well. And it's adorable. Like if you look at some of the videos of the Joining in Light sessions, and the beings are going like this, they're going, because we come together to hear and speak Jesus in those, and you'll just hear it. The clips are adorable. Because one of the beings will be there, and we've all seen this, and they'll go, you know, I really don't think I can hear Jesus. And all of a sudden, I think it was Anna Maria. Was it Anna Maria? You just see her eyes go like, she's, wait a minute. And she's just, she went on fire because she realized, wait a minute, I can hear that. I've always heard that voice. It's like that. Not for, it appears in different ways for different beings. But you have to do these sessions, and when you do them, record them. Jesus is saying record them. He's using technology so you can go back and see the stuff that comes out of your mouth that's from him. So beautiful. But, there'll be little kerfuffles and doubts for a while. Just ignore all that. And if you're not clear, look, that's why we have the Joining in Light Brigade. Just join. Just say, look, I think Jesus told me this. And we'll join. Do you see? And then you'll know. So you can be sure that you're hearing them, because you can. Plus, we'll all hear it. Like Rita said, I know the truth when I hear it, and we do. We do. It's just a play in consciousness that you can't hear. So just ignore that. Mm. And then on these groups, like being expressed now, being sharing about, okay, this is what Jesus showed me. That is the most precious thing of all that we could share. That's what the Light Brigade's for. In the WhatsApp group and the Facebook group, if it's in English, the Messenger group, it's really for when Jesus tells you something that you have a place to go and say, here's what Jesus told me I needed to see. This is what he showed me. This is what he told me. So you really can practice expressing what he tells you. This is the washout of personal identity, speaking this voice. Because it's our true voice. And then we're not speaking so much that other serpent tongue voice. It will help with the discernment. Oh, and how is she doing that? She's talking and sending links at the same time. How's she doing that? I don't know. She doesn't know either. She keeps...
That's multitasking.
Yeah. She can send texts at the same time. She's translating. I don't even see her fingers on the keys. I don't know how she's doing that. But, if you haven't heard this story, it is so hilarious with this whole translation thing. I love this. It's so great. I'm watching the videos, and several people are coming through and going, boy, Kay really talks fast. At the same time, I'm watching the videos going, man, I'm really talking fast. How is she doing that? Because Jesus is simulcasting. That's what she's doing. Because she's Jesus too, and the mind is joined. And he wants this for us. She can hear him just as well as I can. You can all hear him as well, But for a time, it might seem like someone else can hear him. Okay, that can be helpful for a time. But boy, when he came through in chapter 1 and said, everyone can hear my voice in fullness now. And to imply anything other is to deny the will of God. I mean, that would be to deny that anyone here can hear him in fullness and in clarity right now, would deny God. Now, there may be a few thoughts, but that's what the conversation is. Then you can join the Joining in Light sessions, and then you can ask Jesus about it together. It's spectacular, really, to ask Jesus, and you look at the videos where there are other beings that ask him, and Jesus, why am I not talking to you? And then he gives them the skinny. So, yeah, he's taking us home. He's taken us home. So are there many, you have to be called. That if you're called for that deep conversation and to really trust what you've all been hearing, I don't think everyone who comes can hear them. It just sometimes two things. One is the doubt thoughts that are part of consciousness to deny that we can hear our own natural voice. So that can be cleared out, and it'll be cleared out through chapter 20 and through the joining in light sessions. And then the W, to follow in every circumstance without exception. That takes an adjustment for some, but then we see it's the only way. He is our ticket out. If we've been blessed enough to say yes, the Course in Miracles, then we do need to fully accept what it means for him to be in control. He says yes, for him to be in control of the atonement. And that means him being in control of every miracle. So that's another thing that gets taught when you do chapter 20. You will see directly what it means for him to be in control of the miracles. And you can see directly how consciousness wants to control and suppress miracles, the play as well. That is very helpful to see. So are there anything else from the experience chapter 20 team or questions from everyone? Carolina, do you have a question? We'd love to hear from you if you do.
Thank you. I understand everything in English, but I don't speak very well. So I was very grateful for hearing you and all the people who was talking. Thank you very much. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Carolina. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Algo más? Anyone else? Anything else? Okay, so Marga has one. Okay, so Marga's asking, we love you, Marga. Would that voice from Jesus be like a human being's voice? For here, yes. It is like sitting here talking to you. All of you, really. For some reasons, it's like that. Others, you can get nonverbal downloads too. You'll get downverbal downloads that you just know something that you can't possibly know, but you just know it. And you can also get pictures. He'll teach in pictures. Some of the beings here, he'll show you things. So it can come all ways. I'm asking him too. I'm just asking him, Jesus, can all beings hear you? And he says, yes, all beings can hear me like a voice if they choose to. Okay, so that's the choice. Like clear as day. Yeah. And that's why the light circles are a good practice for that, because there are a lot of questions, inquiry of asking him, so you can start to see what that voice sounds like and be more familiar with it. But it's just the practicing it, really. And journaling, we've talked about journaling being really good. And the joining sessions are really good too, because, well, first of all, I think I looked up, he said joining 400 times in the Course in Miracles. So the joining sessions and joining in light worksheet is just one of the means. Like I said, like Hilda says, this is all in A Course in Miracles. He's just pointing the take-home message with the new covenant. The take-home message is, one, come to me. We hear that throughout the Course. I will help you. He's just giving a specific way to work with him for that clarity now. With to have, if you want that clarity of him speaking to Helen, he's just given a means for that, but it's not the only way to do it. But for here, it was helpful. And he's saying extend it. So I just say, okay, I don't even know what that looks like. So he's just saying, oh, and the other part he's saying, the other point he's saying, the message here to Course in Miracles students, because this is a message for Course in Miracles students, and you'll see there's nothing, not a single scrap I'm asking them so I'm clear. There's not a scrap in Jesus and New Covenant that's not in alignment with the Course. There just isn't. He's expounded on sexuality because it's important, and it didn't make it into the Course. And you can have a conversation of why it didn't and let him tell you. He'll tell you. So it's to expound on sexuality. It's really for us to go to him and be in contemplation rather than a lot of discussion on the Course. It's because he's saying it's time for direct experience, not intellectual, meandering about the Course. He's saying, come with me. I'm going to show you by direct experience what the Course is. And that direct relationship with him, that he's here to help us. That's all that basically the deal is. And then some tools for, to give that kind of discipline and focus that we need to work with him directly. That's the basic deal of it. So yeah, Hilda, unmute.
Thank you. In my experience, one thing that usually happens not to hear clearly the voice of God, or even not recognizing that it is the voice of God, is because of the guilt we still think we have. So we think we don't deserve to hear a voice. We think we don't have merit for us to have things being done very easily. In the Course, when we start through lesson 42 and so on, Jesus says us to find thoughts similar to the idea that we are practicing. And these ideas that come to us are the voice of God. They are inspired. But even if the pupil, if the learner is doing the lesson, sometimes they don't recognize that this is the voice of God and it's coming in words. So you are doing the lessons, you are hearing the voice of God. But the denial that we merit to hear the voice of God as simply as that makes us think that we are not listening to the voice of God. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's the whole book is the voice of God, and it's coming from us too. That's the real beauty of it, right? It's not coming apart from us. So it's all in the Course. Everything's in the Course. But sometimes we can get the play of consciousness is to intellectualize and keep it. Actually discussing the Course will keep the concepts alive. And what's helpful here too, he's reminding me, is that you can now go to him directly, and you'll see the examples of that, and ask him, Jesus, what are the reasons why I'm not hearing you? And he'll tell you, because it's a desire not to hear him clearly. That's the play of consciousness, to have a desire not to hear the voice clearly. But he'll coach you through that even. It's a magnificent thing. It's really magnificent to have him coach. And you'll see there's some videos up where beings are just going to Jesus and saying, okay, Jesus, I'm really afraid of you. And it's just gorgeous to hear them have that dialogue with him where he just coaches them. Here's what you can look at. Here's how to look at this. So the whole Course is a one-on-one coaching with Jesus. It's just getting really laser focused now for those that really want to have that direct experience with him and have him coach them just like he coached Helen in the beautiful way that he coached her. But you don't necessarily need that to do it. If we just accept it, we're in, like Flynn, because he'll help us in whatever way we're open to hear it. I can just share what's been helpful for me in this. So any other questions from anyone? Lena, did you want to come? Lena, did you want to come share? Excellente.
You're learning Spanish.
Bueno, yo voy a hablar de mi experiencia.
Well, I'm going to share my experience.
Tengo 2 meses practicando el capítulo 20 y los círculos de luz.
I've been now 2 months practicing and devoting myself to chapter 20 and clearing desires.
Y de las cosas que he visto con mucha claridad
And everything that I've been able to see clearly
es que todo el miedo y el terror que estaba como incrustado en la mente,
that all the terror that was encrusted in the mind,
Jesús me mostró que fue mi elección.
Jesus is showing me that it was my decision.
También he notado que esa voz que me habla es mi propia voz interna del ser.
And I've also noticing that that voice that is speaking to me is my own voice, my own being
Cosa que antes no reconocía.
that I wasn't recognizing.
Y bueno, me he dado cuenta que efectivamente es como que la conciencia tiene niveles y uno, conforme va yendo al deseo con Jesús,
And that sometimes in consciousness, it seems like it has levels, but as you work with Jesus and go to the desire,
Él te va mostrando como abajo está el deseo inconsciente que aparentemente crees que es la salvación, pero es el infierno y estás atado ahí.
he shows you through directly going into the desire, you see how there's a relation of that switch of seeing that the hell means heaven.
Y cuando lo miras con Él y permite que esa energía suba y se libere, en realidad es un gran peso que te quitas de encima.
And when you allow him to fully to let this desire up into consciousness and to turning into the light, it's just we're free.
Bueno, yo estoy segura que Jesús me trajo aquí
And I am so sure that Jesus brought me here.
Sé que a pesar de que yo venía haciendo los ejercicios de un curso de milagros casi 3 años,
Even though I was a student of the course for about 3 years,
con el capítulo 20 ha sido como que Él está reestructurando la mente
through working through the chapter 20, he is like transforming the mind
para ir liberando esa individualidad que yo había metido aquí.
to release that individuality that I had within.
Y bueno, el proceso sigue, yo sigo sanando.
And it's an ongoing process of healing.
Pero la paz que he aprendido a tener aquí, la quietud que he aprendido a tener, escuchando su voz y mirando estos deseos,
And the peace that I've obtained and the happiness that I've obtained through releasing these desires and looking with him
ha sido para mí un gran agradecimiento para Jesús.
it's a true gratefulness to Jesus
Que me haya dado la oportunidad de venir aquí,
to have the opportunity to come here,
porque aquí es un trabajo interno profundo continuamente.
because it's an internal work with him, a deep internal work with him here.
Y bueno, también tengo que reconocer que en los círculos de luz, Él me ha mostrado cómo me engaño yo misma.
And he has shown me through the light circles how I try to lie to myself. And
Así que he sentido que este ha sido como un curso intensivo.
so I feel like this has been an intensive course.
Que hay veces que ha sido de mucho dolor,
And sometimes, even though it's experienced as painful,
pero también ha sido de que ha habido una gran paz.
but also the peace of mind.
Y pues estoy muy agradecida con estos círculos de luz y con Jesús.
And so I'm so grateful for this light circles and to Jesus.
Y seguimos en este camino juntos.
And we're all joining this path together.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you, Lena. Does anyone else have any questions or comments, or do we feel complete? Feels pretty complete for today.
Very happy to see Lena there. I'm very happy to see Lena.
We're happy to have her here.
Yo también estoy muy contenta de verlos a todos.
Yes, you know a lot about the course.
Los amo a todos.
Very happy to see you all here.
Carolina, Guadalupe, a todos.
Yes, it's been very helpful for us to have her here. We see that every being that comes here or joins these circles, it's just part of the blessing of God. Yeah, no limits, sin limit. Without a limit, Jesus. Thank you for showing us. And it's a very humbling journey, this one, but it's happy, humbling. Oh, she's got a lily. For us, for all of us. Yeah, lilies of the field. That's our only function. Completion. Yeah, so thank you, Jesus. Thank you to Mighties who encouraged me to put this book, to even share it, because again, you see, you cannot do it without your Mighties to come and be together. It's just such a gift. At first you want to get rid of all of them. I could see it, you know. Want to get rid of those Mighties, want to give them the boot. And then we see they're essential to God's plan. So thank you all for being part of God's plan today. We love you. And if you have questions, just join, ask. You can ask in the WhatsApp group. And yeah, just keep us posted on how you're doing. Love you.